aerophobia, the fear of flying. This might not be what you expect. You're probably thinking that I'm talking about maybe flying to vacation on an airplane, but no. I'm talking about the fear of just being in the air and flying through the air, which is why I think this next topic to talk about for the next roller coaster will match perfectly with Skyrush. Skyrush's airtime hills just straight feel like you're flying, plus the fast drops and high speeds and turns all combined make it a really fly type of roller coaster, especially when it's smooth. It just feels like you're flying. Sure, there's a lot of other roller coasters like this, but I think Skyrush will get this one. By the late 2000s, Hershey Park already had an impressive collection of roller coasters, but they wanted something different. Not just another ride that broke a height record, not just another ride that went fast. They wanted a coaster that people would never forget. They wanted a coaster that people just wanted this park to be known for. So, to make that happen, Hershey Park worked with Intamin, a Swiss company responsible for designing some of the world's most famous thrill rides. Construction began in 2011. Then, in May of 2012, Skyrush officially opened. At its first glance, it did not look like the biggest coaster in the world. It just stood over 200 feet tall, reached 75 miles per hour, and featured a long, twisted layout. But what riders didn't know was that Skyrush had something that almost no coaster had. It was built around one goal: maximum airtime. The coaster was also known for having its winged outer seats, which was the first of its kind in the country. And that brings me to the next part of this coaster. Now, Skyrush wasn't any ordinary coaster. Instead of riders sitting just above the track, there was an option that you could sit at the edge and feel like you're hanging over, getting the feeling that you're flying. There is nothing underneath your feet except open air. No track, no supports, just empty space. It makes every hill feel taller, every turn feel faster, and every airtime moment feel even more exposed. Before the ride even left the hill, your brain already knows this is going to be different, because it doesn't feel like you're on anything. It just feels like you're flying, also because the coaster is so smooth, which is why it makes it feel like you're flying. Now, Skyrush is almost a perfect roller coaster on paper, but when there's problems, then it becomes a little bit worse. And for example, one big controversy that people hated about this roller coaster was the lap bars. People complained about these restraints and ended up not wanting to ride the coaster, making Skyrush not as good as it should have been. But then, Skyrush had to make a change. Not only were these restraints really way more comfortable than the old ones, they also just weren't as tight, because the airtime, what would happen was during the airtime, because this coaster gives some crazy ejector airtime, everybody would just start kind of flying up and keep hitting their thighs. But this new design that Skyrush added just made the coaster finally comfortable again. Oh, but that does not save Skyrush, because there were still other problems, like during rain, the coaster would have trouble running, and because of the enhanced cable lift technology, it would usually sometimes stop running and cause a lot of maintenance. So, if you are planning to ride Skyrush, try to make sure it's on a nice and sunny day. Even if it rained the day before, I would not recommend going. And also, sometimes this stuff happens when it just breaks down. It could probably open up back in the day, and it requires patience. But overall, Skyrush is one of the best coasters out there. Best coasters just in the USA, so yeah. And there you are, speeding up the hill, ready to drop down. And then, right as you enter the top, you just feel the chain let go. The first drop throws you down at 75 miles per hour. Before you can even process what happened, you're already flying over the first hill. Then Skyrush shows you what it's famous for. Instead of gently floating, you're violently lifted toward your left. Our roller coaster fans call this ejector airtime. The forces are so strong that many riders feel like they're being launched out of the train. Hill after hill, turn after turn, the ride barely gives you a chance to breathe. There's almost no slow section, no break. Just another moment where gravity seems to stop working. Not to mention, this airtime makes it feel like you're flying even more. And then, you go up one last hill, stop, and you don't even know what happened. To conclude this episode, this is why I think Skyrush is worthy of matching the fear of flying. First off, just the ejector and floater airtime that it gives you going up the hills and bank turns. Second off, the winged adder seats. Like, how much roller coasters can you genuinely name besides Skyrush that has this type of seating? None. And third off, just the coaster itself. Everything about it just matches the feel of flying. I mean, even the name. This coaster is super unique and just amazing. And follow me on YouTube. Stay blessed. And this is Phobia Thrills. Out.
Wishing I would put her in the mix. Shorty got a taste and now she wants a fix. You know how it gets, but I'ma have to hit you in a